pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk would note that Councilmember Keeley is on vacation and Councilmember Gustafson is not feeling well this evening. Members of the public can attend in person, as you all are doing, or the public can also watch us on channel 16 or 859, or join us on burnsvilleamend.gov/meetings. The public can also participate through Zoom by joining us at zoom.us/join. More information is available on our meetings webpage and in the council agenda packet. The next item on the agenda is our announcements. Our announcements this evening have to do with all of our upcoming meetings. Regular council meetings are scheduled for Tuesday, March 4th at 5:30 p.m. and Tuesday, March 18th at 5:30 p.m. We usually have a work session on the second Tuesday, which is going to be March 11th. However, we will not have a quorum. Council members are going to be in Washington, D.C. for the National League of Cities meetings. So that meeting is going to be scheduled for March 18th at 6 p.m. And we have a budget meeting that's scheduled for Tuesday, March 25th at 5:30 p.m. The next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the council on an item that is not on the printed agenda and not an application form that will be coming before us at a future date. And I see that we do have 3 speakers this evening. The first is Mrs. Betsy Sturm. Mrs. Sturm?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. I'm Betsy Sturm of Burnsville, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Alley-Main Eco Advocates. I'd like to start by reminding everyone that our group is not anti-pickleball. We are anti-pickleball location at Alley-Main Park. We have been before you for months, sharing our concerns, always informed by facts and relevant data. We have met with your staff at every opportunity we could. We have requested to be put on the City Council's agenda ahead of the April 15th pickleball complex decision date for a substantive dialogue that addresses what we've been trying to both convey and discern. The city manager asked to meet with us to better understand the reasons for this. Andrea Grazzini, my husband Ed, and I met with him, Garrett, and Daryl this past Friday. We shared that one of our concerns has been the lack of meaningful engagement with the community by the city in relation to the pickleball proposal. We asked what the city considers community engagement. From that discussion, it was clear that we do not agree on our same definition. We do not see community engagement as the city inviting citizens to meetings that are little more than high-level defenses of already made decisions or public relations events filled with talking points designed to talk us down, while in the background refusing to budge on our main concern. I personally have been trying to engage with the city since last October 15th, when I tried to attend your work session, but I was basically let out the door. This was the night that you made the unanimous decision to proceed with the pickleball complex at Alley-Main Park. The very concern I wanted to present was, after all, discussed at length. Though that night the Parks Director did offer that the city was still accepting comments on the Alley-Main Park pickleball visioning page. So I and 29 others from the Alley-Main Eco Advocates took the time to make comments on that city webpage, believing that our concerns would be considered by the city. Imagine our shock last Friday when we were told by that same Parks Director that the comments made after the work session had not been factored into the decision on where to locate pickleball, that the Alley-Main location was at that point decided. Not knowing our concerns about location were no longer even being considered, we then connected at the November Park and Rec Pickleball Open House. 17 of us arrived and we outnumbered the pickleballers. The room had schematic designs set up, all of pickleball at Alley Magnet, no other locations. There was no formal presentation by your staff or a consultant, no handouts, not even the cost of the project was detailed. In addition, neither the city staff or the consultants wore name tags identifying themselves, so we didn't even know who were community members or who were staff. With the encouragement of the mayor in her comments of the work session and since, our next effort was to engage with over 24 emails to all of you. We believed our concerns about location would be factored into your decision. 4 of us then spoke at the December 2nd PRNC meeting. We came unannounced. We were certainly not invited to attend or to engage. So imagine our surprise on Friday, imagine our surprise when we saw our comments to the PRNC were listed on a FOIA response from your staff as a pickleball community engagement. Also troubling in that same FOIA response is this comment, and I quote, "Staff do not track how a community member contributes to a meeting," unquote. So the Post-its that were put out by staff at another Parks and Visioning meeting here at City Hall on October 2nd that were meant for citizen comments just disappear. Based on all of our efforts up until then, the city learned that the Alley Magnet Eco Advocates' concerns for the lake and park, we were not going away. So the city put out an invitation for an outdoor meeting on December 11th called Improving Water Quality at Alley Magnet Lake, when the temperatures would be below 0. Not exactly making it easy for us to engage. After we brought this up with you, you intervened, and only then was the meeting moved indoors. We again expressed our concerns and asked many questions. Your staff kept a list on a large Post-it pad and made promises that there would be a follow-up meeting in January to address them. We were also told all the answers would be provided by the end of January, but none of that has happened. It took an email from the Lake Association president repeating what we remembered was on the list to get any follow-up from your staff. As of today, the majority of the concerns expressed by us then and in so many other times and ways, including every council meeting and work session since December 10th, have remained unanswered. We'd like to share more concerns with the PNRC, but their meetings have all been canceled until after April 15th deadline. We continue to wait on dozens of FOIA requests that we have made, which we have reminded your staff of on Friday. And with all the ways that we have made our concerns known, and you have said other locations are being considered, your website still declares Alley Magnet as the pickleball complex location. We will continue to be here at every council meeting engaging with you with information and concerns about our beautiful natural resource, Alley Magnet Park and Lake, a resource that is available to all that live in this community. A resource that I might add is the envy of so many surrounding cities who lack accessible lakes like Burnsville. Finally, engagement is a two-way street. We are asking to be put on one of your meeting agendas prior to the final decision date regarding the pickleball location to have a discussion with you. Not just comments by us, but a real dialogue between you and us. I ask you, has Alley Magnet Eco Advocates not demonstrated our commitment with our engagement? When will the city sincerely engage with us in working together to address our primary and very well supported concerns? Let us take care with the decision ahead of us, and for all the right reasons, remove Alley Magnet as the pickleball complex location. Thank you.
Okay. Mrs. Sturm, thank you for your comments. So I'm going to ask that, let's practice mutual respect. But the meeting that you came to was about, do we have the money to answer the question that I had of staff? Do we have the money to look at new assets for our parks? Because we had just finished understanding the conditions of 76 parks and how much money we have to do renovations. So that meeting that you came to, when I said to you, all we're doing is to understand whether we have the money. Now, from my perspective, yes, the pickleball location was identified by staff as Alamagnet, but we did not go through all of the background information because that meeting was only about funding new assets. And so we had the money for the pickleball courts. And then we also understand how much money we're going to have to renovate and replace some of the assets in the parks that were identified as 1 and 2 in priority of getting things done. So from my perspective, I didn't believe that Alamagnet was the location because I believe there are other locations for pickleball courts. But we're going through a process. So I don't know if other council members thought the same way about that meeting, but for me, it was understanding how much money we have. We don't have a whole lot of money. And parks are funded through park dedication fees and also through, in the budget, through the general fund. But that's also a limited amount of money for 76 parks that we have to take care of, that belongs to the people. Okay, so I just want you to understand that I don't know, from my perspective, I didn't think that we had already said that's the location. That was the location that staff had identified, and they had to have more information to bring before us. So that's where that's at. Thank you. Mr. Sturm, you're next.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. My name is Ed Sturm. I'm a 17-year resident of Frontier Lane. I stand before you as a member of Alamagnet Eco Advocates, president of the Alamagnet Lake Association, and a registered volunteer through the city's natural resources and mobile volunteer network programs. I sent an email to each of you on November 27th, 2024. In that email, in the last sentence, I requested, and I quote, "We instead work together on a location for pickleball with less detriment to all the stakeholders." I anticipated my request to work together on this pickleball issue would at least be met with some offer to discuss, talking through issues, etc. Instead, I have not received a response to that email of almost 3 months ago. I too am questioning what the city considers engaging the community. Alamagnet Eco Advocates and Alamagnet Lake Association have spent considerable time trying to determine how the city arrived at its conclusion to build a pickleball complex at Alamagnet Park. At this point, we have many questions, but very few answers. How did the city determine to consider only community park locations? Why weren't the Chamber of Commerce and other organizations engaged regarding public, private, or other partnerships such as Burnsville Mall? Were there any discussions regarding pickleball in conjunction with a Burnsville Community Center? The proposed complex at Alamagnet Park has many issues associated with it. First, parking. The parking capacity at Alamagnet Park was discussed at length during the October 15th, 2024 City Council work session with a question whether the city has a parking study for Alamagnet Park. Was there a parking study done? Second, expansion. There is no room for additional courts beyond the 8 courts currently planned at Alamagnet Park. Third, environmental issues, such as mitigating stormwater runoff and mitigating sound travel. The list of issues associated with Alamagnet Park goes on and on. The city has chosen to build the pickleball complex at the most complicated location. These complications create incremental cost at Alamagnet when other lower cost options are available. Based on information presented by city staff at the October 15th, 2024 City Council work session, the pickleball complex initial cost is estimated to be $990,000 from the Parks Investment Fund. The Parks Renovation Fund will fund maintenance of that asset, estimated to be $291,000 over the life of the asset. The initial cost for mitigation issues associated with the pickleball complex yet to be determined. The 2025 City of Burnsville budget includes an extensive discussion of the Parks Investment Fund and the Parks Renovation Fund, discussing the issue that you just pointed out, Mayor, that there is limited funds, and those funds in Parks Investment Fund have to come from dedication fees. The 2025 budget included a beginning balance in the Parks Investment Fund of $5.3 million. The budget also states that projected dedication fees are estimated to be $100,000 per year for each of the years 2025 to 2028. So the city is proposing to spend at a minimum 23% of the existing Parks Investment Fund balance on the proposed pickleball complex at Alamagnet Park. At other locations, the incremental mitigation cost could either be used for additional pickleball courts or retained in the Parks Investment Fund for other projects. This is a hefty price tag for one amenity at one park out of 76 parks in Burnsville. This is also a hefty price tag for one sport that will be used only on nice days and only 4 months out of the year by the select 3% of the Burnsville population that plays pickleball. All this without thoroughly vetting other options that would better serve the interests of all the stakeholders. My closing comment: what was the process that led the city to the decision to build the pickleball complex at Alamagnet Park? Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Andrea Grazzini.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see you again. I'm Andrea Grazzini, also on Frontier Lane. 50-some year resident of Burnsville and Frontier Lane, give or take. I've come and gone from that place, but it's my home. I want to echo a little bit of what both Ed and Betsy said, and I just really want to, I think I want to emphasize some serious concerns I have anyway, and I know the rest of our group has. They're more polite than I am, and I'm going to try to be polite, and I am polite, but it's pretty damn frustrating. We did have a meeting on Friday, and what we basically learned was that the decision on Alamagnet was made before October 15th, and there hasn't been no real change to that since. Jeff was at that meeting, so he'll recall that. When we asked what would happen with all the comments that we made, based on the Parks and Rec director saying that the comments could be accepted after the October 15th meeting, like Betsy said, a number of us sent in 30-something messages. Friday, we learned that none of those are being used as criteria. There's no stakeholder input as criteria under this decision. No citizen input is being used as criteria to decide where this park goes. Are we a city of citizens and a community that works together? Do we value stakeholders, or is this top-down? Do we value process? What is the process? I've heard a number of you tell us, process, we got to process, Andrew, we got to trust us, we got to well, you know what? I'm having a real hard time trusting. First of all, because on Friday, I couldn't figure out why my FOIAs weren't being answered about process. Now I know there isn't a process, or if there is, it is so vague and so obtuse that nobody can explain it. We asked a number of times in that meeting, echoing a number of FOIAs that I sent in. What's the process? A process is a pretty straightforward thing. You can Google what is a process. It's a stepwise, time-planned way of getting a project done from concept to completion. And you know what the process we were told was? Well, we're working on our next steps. Well, those next steps are this. We're looking at mitigation options for Alamagnet. And we're, what was the other one, Jeff? No, it was mitigation. And I forget, there was one other one. But you know what? They were the exact same next steps as was November 2024. They haven't changed a bit. So I have no idea where you're at in this process. What we heard on Friday was that the process is that the city will be, the director of Parks and Rec will be giving you the criteria. He does not expect that criteria to change or the decision on Alamagnet to change at all. He said he will certainly offer some information on the other parks, but he doesn't really expect there to be a meaningful change. And that'll be up to you to discern and read between the lines of the criteria that he doesn't have. Now, in fairness, he built some criteria, but the criteria is pretty darn superficial. It's redundant. It doesn't have any weighting. It's missing big chunks of what would be considered important criteria. For example, how much, I think the first time I spoke to you guys, I talked a lot about the city plans and promises because I buried my head in them. There's parts of some of them I swear I have memorized. There's nothing in his criteria that says how any of those parks would better align with the city's plans and promises. There's nothing that says how any one of these parks would be better that would align with the extensive priorities that are listed in your Burnsville Natural Resource Master Plans, a number of them, I think there's 2 or 3 in the past recent years. Nor is there anything in that criteria that says how it would align with the numerous priorities in your sustainability plans. There's at least 2 in the last 5 or 6 years, right? None of them say how it will address to the endless priorities in your state mandated comprehensive plan for 2030. None of them. Nor for your service inventory, nor for your wetland protection, nor for your water resources, nor for your council ends and means. Is that important? Or is this a bunch of bullshit? Is it just a bunch of lip service? I hear so much good talk. You've got some really sweet and kind people on your staff. But that doesn't replace real substantive engagement. That means that you're not only talking down and trying to explain away to your citizens your already made decision, and then blow them a bunch of smoke, tell them that you're willing to take comments, and then 4 months later say that you're not going to use those comments to decide to make the decision. It's not blowing smoke saying that you're working with stakeholders, we're working with the community. Jeff, and I know this wasn't you that compiled this, but thank you. Jeff did respond to one of our FOIAs that asked how many meetings and when were the meetings that city community was invited to work together on the design and plans for Alamagnet. 2 of the 4 that were sent weren't engagements at all. One of them, Betsy mentioned. It was us showing up at a Parks and Rec meeting. We didn't even talk to anybody except for in our comments. So it's a bunch of smoke. It's a bunch of smoke and mirrors is what it looks like. It's not the vision nor the value that I have in my community. I'm really disappointed. I think I just know that we're better than that, but to see all this is just stunning. The longer you guys take to take it out of Alamagnet, the more I'm going to come up with. There's a whole lot more on my list here. And that's why it's so frustrating. We respect that you can't have us up here talking for hours at length at these meetings, but we got a lot to say. There's a lot of big issues. These are not minor things. These are not bitching and complaining and NIMBY, none of it. We haven't even had time for NIMBY, to be honest. There is so much wrong with how this has been planned. There is so much lack of any substance. There's a lot of superficial stuff. It all sounds good. You have, again, very friendly, very sweet staff, but they're not doing their job. And if they're not doing their job, I'm not going to buy that your process is working. I don't buy it at all.
Thank you to all of you for coming in and continuing to advocate. I think it's time for us to make a decision about what we need to do to go forward. So thank you for coming in and sharing your thoughts, because this gives you that platform, because it is on record and it is on tape. And I want you to know that all of the letters that you all have emailed to us, I have read.
We appreciate
Now,
that, Elizabeth. We really do.
And
If your staff isn't listening and using
so,
those letters,
but yeah, I understand. So the thing is, from my perspective, all of your emails are records. are part of the record. So, thank you. Everything that you do in coming and testifying is part of the record. Okay.
That's why we're here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. There are no other speakers that have signed up, so I'm going to move on the next agenda item. The next agenda item is additions to the final agenda, and that is for emergency items only. Deputy City Manager.
No items from staff, Mayor.
Thompson, yes, thank you. Members of the council? Okay, we will move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a group of items that's considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. However, an item from the consent agenda can be removed for a separate discussion and vote. Now, members of the council, item 4D and 4R requires 4 affirmative votes, and we only have 3 of us here this evening. And with that, I would ask that we have a motion to move items 4D and 4R to the March 4th meeting, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and a motion carries. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes an item to be pulled for a separate discussion and vote? Mrs. Collins, anyone online?
No one online, Mayor.
Deputy City Manager Thompson, any items from staff?
Nothing from staff, Mayor.
Members of the council, may I have a motion to adopt the balance, please?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and a motion carries. Thank you. We are at the regular agenda, and that is item 5A, and this is the Planning Commission work plan. And Mr. Ali Awad, the Planning Commission Chair, is presenting. Mr. Awad, welcome.
Hello, Mayor and Council. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about our work plan ahead. And bear with me while I, well, there we go. I got it. So briefly, before I talk about the work plan ahead, we'll maybe touch on some of the highlights of the past year in the work and the Planning Commission. We had 26 planning cases before us that required 33 different approvals. We approved 218 new units of affordable housing. We approved the City Hall and Police Department remodel and expansion. And then there were also 4 zoning code text amendments that came before us. 2 of them were driven by the city zoning code, and 2 of them were driven by specific projects. And actually, before I get into the 2025 work plan, I just want to say how much we enjoy our role on the Planning Commission and how much we appreciate the staff and the hard work that they do. They really make our job as planning commissioners very easy. So our commendation to Mr. Thompson and the entire planning staff. Okay, our work plan for this year, the items as listed that we have, the development of a neighborhood meeting policy. As you probably know, we don't really have a set procedure for neighborhood meetings, and so that's something that's being developed in the first quarter into the second quarter of this year. There is an economic development strategic framework that's really being driven by the Economic Development Commission, although there may be some zoning changes or zoning items that come out of that, which is kind of exciting. There's a zoning code update, which has been in the works for a couple years now. And as somebody who refers to the zoning codes of cities in my daily work, and I'm excited about this plan to kind of reorganize and reformat and refine our zoning code to make it more accessible. The next item is a community visioning process, which really leads into the last item, which is the 2050 comprehensive plan that's being driven by the Met Council. So that is our work plan. And I guess I'm asking for a recommendation that you approve our 2025 commission work plan, and I'll stand for questions.
Mr. Awad, first of all, thank you so much for your leadership, and thank you for the work on the Planning Commission. You all do very fine work, because as you see, a lot of the items that come before us, if they come unanimous, because you've vetted a lot of the topics and you've done a lot of the work on the front end with regard to the technical aspects of a project, they're on our consent agenda unless someone wants more information, and it would pull it. So thank you for all of that. And I see that you all have a lot of heavy lifting to do in 2025, and I thank you for your diligence in continuing to do that work and helping us as we look to the future of our community. So thank you for that. Any other comments?
Thank you for all of your work, Mr. Chair. I echo the mayor's comments. You guys are doing a wonderful job. It's hard to believe we have another comp plan coming up, and hopefully you'll be around to help for that. I got to help with our last one, and it is a really, I enjoyed it. It was a very fun experience for me, just because what you guys do is what I like to do. So there are days where I miss Planning Commission, but hopefully you'll be around and be able to participate in that process. But thank you.
Councilmember Schultz?
No, I appreciate everything you guys are doing. It looks like you're going through this systematically, which is exactly what we have asked of you. So we appreciate that. Makes our jobs easier and quicker. And thank you for identifying the needs that need to happen. So.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the 2025 Planning Commission work plan?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. Members of the council, there are no other items to come before us this evening, and a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved?
Second?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay, and a motion carries. Good night, and thank you for being with us.